Hi, Greg. How are you?
I'm very well. Welcome to a Sydney summer.
Oh, I wish it was that weather here. It's pretty cold here.
30 degrees. It'll be that way till April, so to
Oh,
say.
so okay. So, Mr. Sellar, what have you been up to over the last 18 months? Let's have a recap of what you've been up to. What's changed?
Okay, well, we moved 2 years ago, and I used that as a perfect timing for me. I thought, well, I can either do exactly what I've always been doing, i.e., more of the presenting stuff in the fitness industry, which I'm still doing. But I thought, okay, well, what's that going to look like when you're 50, when you're 55, when you're 60, all that sort of stuff. And I think you always evolve with it. You know what I mean? You always move with it, and people typically go from like their high-low days. Now we're all kind of into conditioning because we don't have to jump, and then people move into yoga and Pilates. So, yeah, I don't know. It was more about what's really going to rock your world, having this opportunity. Yeah, you can either do more of the same or do something else, which is kind of the ethos of what my whole message is at the moment around Hack the Status Quo. It's like, look, particularly as we come up to New Year's, knowing that only 8% of us ever manage to keep our New Year's resolutions, it's like, well, why are we all celebrating? I don't get it. Like, I don't get why everyone's like so woohoo over New Year's, unless you're going to do something else or something different. Yeah, I don't ever want to get. I don't think I've ever really had too many years that are exactly the same.
Mhm.
There's always something that's different, and there has to be some evolution. And sometimes you have a crap year, but then more often than not, even if it's one step back, the next year might be 2 or 3 steps forward. So bring on 2017, I say.
So, what is Hack the Status Quo? Sort of talk me through it. What does it entail? What does it mean?
Well, I think for me, Hack the Status Quo, we tend to do things for 3 reasons. We do it because we crave being normal, and we know that there is no real normalcy. It doesn't really exist. It's more about people craving acceptance. We want to be right.
Uh-huh.
So there's that fear around being wrong. Therefore, we keep ourselves, doing what's very comfortable for us, whereas we have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And then the third thing I think is the idea that we keep doing stuff now, like in my head. I'm excited about Wonder Woman coming out this year. You know what I mean? It's like I'm 7 in my head. I watch superhero shows, all that sort of stuff, like to an embarrassing extent. But I'll be 42 in April, and so there is no other time for stuff to happen for me if it doesn't really happen now.
Right.
And although I understand that you can teach an old dog new tricks and that you'll never stop learning, it's like a pretty much no for me. I'm at this crossroads of saying, right, I think sometimes you can get caught in what you're doing too often. So you end up doing stuff that's very comfortable with the idea that you'll do what's uncomfortable later on in this time that just typically never comes.
Yeah.
And that's what I get worried about. I probably think about it a bit too much, but I get worried about getting to the end of the road and going,
I wish.
what?
Yeah.
Seriously, that was it? Like, was that it? I wanted to do this, or I thought I'd be doing that, or I was so close to doing that and I never got there. And I don't want to get to that position. So hustle now.
So how, if somebody feels like that, where do they start? How do they start to break that chain, that habit? Everyone says they're going to do something different at the beginning of the year, and then come April, you're kind of stuck doing the same stuff. So where do you start?
Well, I think for me personally, the message behind Hack the Status Quo is there being 3 M's. You got to get your head straight. Mm-hmm. So you got to get in from that to the right type of mindset. you have to understand the what motivation is and what it isn't, and then you've got to understand about the human nature and the idea of momentum. Just being, there will be times when you fall off the wagon, but it's not an excuse to throw all your toys out of the pram and just go back into the fail cycle. You actually, you know, the difference between success and what we deem as failure is literally, instead of here, it's probably this close. And that idea, which I'm slowly getting around to, is, you know, you can take weight loss as an example. You know, people have a bad night or a bad weekend and they go, oh, that's it, I'm off the wagon. And I've done the same. I give that analogy when I speak of like 25 years. You think about it, Rachel.
Yes.
I won't speak for you. 25 years of training. 25 years of training. 25 years of like on and off diets, no diets, eating crap, eating clean. But 25 years of training tells me that I should have like shoulders out here. I should be ripped to shit. I should, you know, be able to run, sprint, jump, leap. And I can't, because I don't know. I get to 9 o'clock at night and think, oh, I probably could do with, you know, having something else to eat or of the weekend. And I know that's life, but, you know, I sometimes use that as an excuse for an all or nothing approach. So a little bit more consistency. Anyway, so 3 M's: get your head straight, mindset, understand the difference between motivation as just being a motive for action. Because it's only as good as you doing something. Everyone talks about like affirmations and repeating this and what do you think about that and positive thinking, but it's like, who cares? Like, seriously, who cares if you're not going to go and do anything about it?
Yeah.
So it's not that I'm saying they're bad, because they're great. If they're going to make you feel better, that's amazing. But if it's going to make you feel better and you don't do anything, then who cares? If it's going to make you feel better in order to go do something, then I'm all for it. Okay. And then momentum. Once you've had the win, how do you actually keep winning?
Keep going. So how do you get clear, Greg, with what you do want? That's the biggest. People say, you know, what do they want? Where do they start? Do they start writing it all down? Do they go and find a therapist? You know, what's the way forward?
I think it's awareness. So, and also sharing what your journey is going to be with other people. Like, if you've got another half, like, I'll actually say to them, like, you know, I want you to pull me up if I do something. Or I'll just write it down. Like, I might write down on a day any number of, I literally put like a little timestamp. So I might go 9:15 a.m. had a thought that I'm running out of time. 10:28 a.m. had this weird feeling like what I'm writing is really crap. 4:15 p.m. and all of a sudden it's like, God, I really, you know, that inner critic, that little devil with Tourette's that sits on your shoulder telling you all day, like, you don't know enough, you're not good enough, why would it be you? It's always everybody else, so they must know something or have some other skill or something that you don't have. Me personally as well, you're no good at selling. So don't pick up the phone because I hate it. I don't want to talk to people. I don't want to, you know, so it's all that thing that we sit here and fight all day, every day. And that's the biggest thing. So I think to get over that, it's just having an awareness. If you can just be aware of what is going on, what are you saying to yourself? How is it making you feel? And what are some strategies, I think, or ways that you can actually like flip it around? Because I say all that in the context of working from home, going to the gym, not coming back till 10:30, you know, popping up to the cafe and having enough money in my bank account to have a nice coffee and a lovely, you know, organic salad, living 4 minutes from the beach, you know, so all this shit goes on in my head, totally forgetting that my life's actually pretty good. Yeah. You know what I mean? I get to travel, I get to do stuff that I actually went to the airport last week. I was in LA, and there was this woman traveling in business class with her 2 kids coming back, and she honestly had about 11 massive suitcases on this trolley. You know those, and you know the people that push the trolleys?
Yes.
And I just thought, oh, not only that, but he had to wait with the bags while she checked in, and check-in wasn't open. And I just thought, here's her totally oblivious to this poor guy who's literally pushing her bags. And I'll bet you any money she's thinking about the inconvenience of having to wait in line, checkout not being open. Isn't it hard? I've got to get 2 kids through customs to take my business class flight home to Australia. And there's this guy standing next to her, literally like pushing her 11 massive bags. And I just think that's a classic example of like just reframing everything. I call them champagne problems. There's that line in, what's her name? What's her name? That pop singer? Orange hair, did all about the Meghan Trainor.
Okay. Yeah, it is. Totally.
She's got that song with that line saying, you know, me and all my champagne problems. And I'm like, that's it. That is totally it. Those first world problems.
So with the mindset, the thing, you know, we keep seeing that word. It's very buzzy, you know, everyone just kind of pops mindset into everything. It's popping into fitness. It's in everywhere you see. It's mindset, change of mindset. So what does mindset mean? What does the word mindset and reframing, kind of what does it mean if we strip it right back? What does it mean?
This would be my definition. I think it's the frame and the lens that you look at the world through. And it's based upon your conditioning as a kid, and you will either look outwardly on the information that the world inwardly gives you on the basis of your capabilities being very fixed, or the idea that you can continue to grow based on the amount of effort.
Okay.
And that's why they say that there's like a fixed or a growth mindset. So basically, if you imagine like I'm looking out this way, and everywhere I look, every interaction, everything I see, everything I hear, everything I feel, so basically a visual, auditory, kinesthetic, olfactory, and gustatory, they're all giving me information, and then I need to delete some stuff.
Yeah.
Because I'd send myself crazy if I tried to take it all in. I distort some stuff to suit myself.
Suit yourself, yeah.
Yeah, and then I generalize.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you've ever told a story back with somebody else who was there, and they're like, well, yeah, sort of, but there was more to it than that. Yeah, so we can't take it all in. So that's what we did. And automatically you can start to see where some of the problems arise.
Yeah.
Because you'll delete different stuff to the person next to you. You'll generalize totally different stuff to the person next to you. And no 2 people will take in that information in the same way. Because I don't know, I'm trying to think of an example where, I don't know, you might watch, let's take the Trump-Hillary campaign debates. Everyone will probably have seen one or seen a bit of one. Some people will look at that going, Hillary's an absolute cow, and I hope Trump wins. And other people will go, if we had to have him as president, I think I'd kill myself. Or move to Canada. So they're watching the same 2 people on the same stage, and yet on the basis of their upbringing, what their parents told them when they were little, their community around them, their grandparents, their schooling, you know, the people they surrounded themselves with, they will grow up a totally different way and see the same event in totally opposite things. You'll know, this is the example I always use. You know how you can do a convention presentation? There's 100 people in the room. 99 people give you straight 5s for being awesome, and there's one person, one away. And it won't, you just think, well, Is it you? Is it me? Was it me? I don't know. You can't. That's why I take those things with a grain of salt. I had the best one ever. It was about 2 years ago, on the minute. Exactly that. There's 150 people in the room. 149 said, whatever, great session, bloody, bloody, blah. One person is, of course, anonymous. Never put your name on it. Yeah. What a cowboy! Exclamation! What a cowboy!
Cowboy, fella. That's incredible.
I should have got my arseless chaps out and my.
That was
what a cowboy! Didn't do anything to explain this, and I'm like, look, that's just your view. That's your lens that you're seeing it through. So that's what I think mindset is. Yeah. Depending on that lens and on that filter, you're going to see the world in a certain way. And typically people will fall into, and this is much of the work of Carol Dweck and her book Mindset, will fall into a fixed or a growth mindset. So if you're in the fixed mindset, which I would hazard a guess that actually most of us are, unless you can pull yourself out of it, I certainly would say that I am or was or am trying to transition to get out of.
Yeah.
It basically says that, like, you tell yourself you can't do stuff because you actually think it's beyond your capabilities.
Yeah.
So people think that they're actually come into this world with a fixed amount of capability, and once it's gone, that's it. So it's all about innate talent. And if you don't have a talent for that, then you shouldn't do it. And so you end up stopping yourself. And those type of people go into most situations looking for some kind of bolster to their ego. So they want to be reinforced that they're doing a great job. And that's why I say to my sister, actually, because she's got a 2-year-old, well, going on to 3-year-olds, but for those kids, it's like we should be praising them for effort, like for having done a good job based on the amount of effort that they've put in, rather than being, oh, you're so pretty, you're so talented. You know, isn't she so smart? Because what happens is when they do something where it's a little bit too difficult, they become really defensive and go into non-learner mode, and they just shut down. So they decide they don't want to do it.
Got it. That's really good.
And on the flip side, the growth mindset says that it's not that I don't know it; it's just that I don't know it yet.
Yeah.
But I'm capable, I've got a brain, and if you teach me, I can expand my capabilities. And I think that's an important thing, and that's why we're always learning new skills, or should be learning new skills all the time.
I love that. Greg, and then the last two, I think, is something that's really pertinent to probably everybody that's watching and listening to this is, lots of people are good starters, whether it's a project, whether it's a diet, whether it's, a business goal. But then it's the follow through, it's the keep going, it's the stuff that's not pretty, it's the early mornings, it's the, having to train when you don't want to, it's having to do the research when you don't want to do it, it's that momentum to keep going. Have you got any tips, whether, anybody that wants to do anything, weight loss or business or some goal personally, where do you find the motivation to keep going to the end and the momentum?
So I said it before, I want people to start thinking about motivation as being a motive for action.
I love it.
Okay, and there are two different things, because we actually have motivation and action the wrong way around. Everyone's so waiting to be motivated. You just said it then. How do people get motivated? It's like, forget about it. Yeah. Like, don't worry about it, because what you'll actually find is that if you do the action first, if you swap it around, the motivation ends up coming. I don't know if you've ever started something where you just thought, I really don't want to do this. And you could take jogging in the mornings, for example. If you put your shoes there and you get out the door, you put your headphones on, getting out the door is on a pain scale, 10 out of 10.
It's in England, not in Sydney.
Yeah. You get down the road and all of a sudden you're into it. Yeah. You think, okay, it's not too bad. So all of a sudden it slips to a 7 out of 10. You get halfway through your run and you're past the halfway mark. It slips to a 5. you see your house, you've got less than a minute to go on the run, it slips to a 3, and you finish, and you go, oh, thank God I did that, because now I've got the rest of my day.
Every time.
But it's with everything. Doing your taxes, everyone procrastinates and they leave it because they're waiting for motivation in order to do the action. Whereas I'm saying, do the action and the motivation ends up coming. And then if you can do that often enough, you actually start rewiring the brain. The neurons get firing. You form these little kind of off-ramps to your thinking. And that's how new habitual learning takes place, where you start remembering, well, look, I just got to get out the door. I just got to get out the door. I just got to get started. Because we procrastinate, which is almost the opposite of momentum.
That's brilliant. That's a great tip. Great tip. And then how do you keep it going? Give us a tip for the momentum.
I think the thing I read something the other day, which I thought was really great, where it's like, you are going to fall off the wagon because on average it takes about 66 days. They did a study that whole 21 days to form a new habit is complete rubbish.
Okay, so 66. Okay.
Well, 66 on average. There are people who could get it done in a month, but there are also like quite a few people who are taking up towards a year to get it done. So they took the average of all of that and they said, look, as a ballpark, 66. Until you reach that point, nothing is familiar. Right. Nothing is habitual. Nothing is you thinking, oh yeah, I've got this now. And so at any point, you can fall off the wagon.
Yeah.
And so the thing is like, if you know that, then getting back on the wagon becomes that much easier. And also, it might happen a number of times. What do they say about giving up smoking? Like the average is you have to give up 7 times before it actually takes hold.
That's interesting.
And so it's that type of thing where most of us will just go, oh, well, it didn't work. I've got no willpower. When in actual fact, nobody's got that straight away. You just have to keep doing it and keep doing it. And every time you do it, the amount by which you fall off the wagon and how far you fall off the wagon and how often you fall off the wagon, or the distance becomes that much less. So it's much easier to keep going. And then lastly, there's that Dan Gilbert did an amazing TED talk called The End of History Illusion. And it talks about the idea that we see kids changing by the day, but we only tend to see older adults changing by the decade, or if at all.
Yeah.
And he was like, why is that? And that is because we put the stoppers on ourselves far before our body or our head actually puts the stoppers on ourselves. So we, between 18 and 68, at every 10-year interval, he went and interviewed people and he said, how much do you think you have grown over the last 10 years versus how much do you think you'll grow over the next 10 years? And he said at every single 10-year interval that he interviewed, everyone across the board universally said they underestimated how much they had changed and underestimated how much they would change in the next 10 years. And he said, isn't that fascinating? Because, really your propensity to keep changing, we never lose it. Although it does slow as we get older, it never stops. But we get caught in that, oh, it's just us.
Yeah.
I'm too old to change now. And we hear it all the time, particularly working, doing any kind of speaking gigs in the corporate sector. You hear these managers going, well, it's kind of the way I am. And it's like, yeah, but you can change. So it's remembering those two things. You can always get back on the wagon, and number two, you will never get to that point of being past being able to change.
I love that. So it's kind of just all part of the process, falling off, getting back on, falling off. That's part of the process. So accept it and kind of go with it. And then
the other thing is we view it as failure, and really it's just feedback. And if you can change, if you can change that frame, because for me, I had a hideous time with a business I opened. You'll know it, but I won't say it. But I had a hideous time for a year, like just dwindling sales. It was just gross. And, for the next kind of 2-year period, I had to pay back the money. And I just thought, this sucks. And I will never, ever, 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 as a result of that, go into business again. Although I'll always be a sole trader, I'll operate a practice and things like that. Now, I can go back and see that as failure, or I could actually see it as feedback for me personally to know. And I've had plenty of people come to me and say, what do you think about starting this new business? And automatically I go, no, because I've been on that course, I failed. And so I've used the failure as a mechanism to change course and then go over here. Yeah. So if you can view each time you do fall off the wagon and ask yourself some questions like, can I still get this done? Am I still capable of losing the weight? Well, yes. Do I have all the resources I need to be able to keep losing the weight? Yeah. Do I have all the information? Yes. What did I not do last time that put me in this situation, and how can I change that? Okay, well, let's go. You know what I mean? So, like, it's not failure. It's just feedback. Ask yourself the right questions. Change course.
Yeah, this is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Greg, this has been fascinating. Where can anyone find out about your courses, information, what you're doing next, where you're appearing?
Appearing. I'm doing a book signing in Waterstone. GregSellar.com, GregSellar.com. Just in January, I'm about to launch a new 30-day life hack program, which is 30 days. It's all online. You get a video, you get a downloadable PDF hack book, and you need about probably 20 to 30 minutes a day for a month. Now, if it takes you 40 days, if it takes you 50 days, whatever, but you can also do it over and over and over again. It's retailing for $299 Aussie dollars, $299, which is probably about, and I'm guessing it's about 160 pounds, something like that. But it's a full month, every single day, with a slightly different focus, taking you through awareness, taking you through mindset, performance, motivation, and momentum as weeks. So it's a lot of the type of stuff we discuss with some workbook activities and a daily video.
I love that. Sounds fab. And where can people come and say hello if they're missing you on social media? Where are you hanging out digitally?
Where am I hanging out digitally? Well, all my handles are just Greg Sellar, GREG. Probably the best way to converse is on the Facebook company page. So I've got a private. Well, I've got a personal page. Yeah, personal page. And you can always talk to me through that. But actually, the company page people would find more useful. Less pictures of my dogs and more pictures about all this sort of stuff.
Love that. Oh, Greg, thank you very much. I really enjoyed it. Thanks for doing this.
Good to talk to you.
Yeah.